What's up, adventurers, and welcome to a brand new ShawnSetGO video. Today we're going to be talking about a class that I'm ultimately not super familiar with, but has been getting a lot of heat lately, and that is Protection Paladins. But before we start, for those of you who have been rocking Mythics and doing Mythics for some time, you are already probably familiar with the new affix that has kind of a lot of people concerned, but I want you to know it's not as concerning as it seems. Devour is not as bad as you think. There is something for everybody. For me personally, I'm not one to do guides or talent trees, but if you want to use mine, mine is here. And so the idea for warriors, my fellow warriors, is picking up bitter immunity, and of course using any sort of passives you may have if you can. And then for those of you missing the rest of these, when you pause, I'm just getting uproar, thunderous roar, thunderous words. But basically there's something for everybody. I have two, luckily, because I play dwarf, dark iron dwarf, and it makes it quite easy. But there's something in there for you, and might as well, while you're doing interrupts, have something there for Devour as well. But getting into it with Prot Paladins, the post that was posted on was, I'm sorry, Prot Paladins, but your spec just feels scuffed. It's really hard to avoid the accusations of being a mediocre spec when the past 4 Prot Paladins I've had the tendency to suddenly just melt. I'm in the 2400 range, just spamming 9s and 10s for crest, and at the end of the week vault, it's rough whenever the group lead brings one on. I don't complain and generally want the key I'm in to show the Prot Paladins can actually be great, but damn, it always ends up being untimed due to them just rolling over. So my question was to this is basically, why exactly is this happening? So for a brief overview of how exactly it's going, basically Prot Paladins got hit by the hardest sweeping tank changes. They're still paying for the sins of no healer keys. So first thing, healing is at all-time low, and the duration nerfs of your main defensives have been basically nerfed into the ground. So it's almost impossible to have a high or higher full uptime for defensive cooldowns. Despite that, however, they do still have a great deal of utility. I mean, there is quite a bit here that they do have present to keep themselves alive, at least, but there is a lot that they have to rely on to do so, or a lot more than what they used to. If you are Prot Paladin and you want to stand and defend what Paladins need, or what you think they need the most, let me know in the comments. But basically, going into this, the first comment here is, healing a Prot Paladin is like healing a blood DK that never death strikes. So exactly like every blood DK I've ever seen. I thought that was a funny point, but something that, I mean, as a warrior, it boggles my mind that a tank with a shield is the squishiest tank. I think that's super duper unfortunate. Maybe they should try using it to block like warriors too. I mean, honestly, I can't agree more. So Prot Paladins hasn't felt this weak in a long time, especially in keys. I feel like I'm constantly fighting for my life in a 10+ keys with 620 item level and good defensive rotations, kiting, and the whole 9 yards. Comparatively, I can smash the same keys in my Prot warrior with less item level and feel practically invincible while doing the same damage as well. I think the main thing with warriors, the reason why it works so well, is because in their kit, you have a few abilities that you're keeping, basically you're keeping them on cooldown because you're constantly up, but you have that extra real estate, whether it's with extra rage or the cooldown is short enough to where you can constantly keep up your cooldowns. The best criticism I got as a Prot warrior when I was first doing Mythics was basically your optimization of your shield block and ignore pain was poor. And so like whenever I got that criticism, it was like, all right, I will keep these up 100%. We'll ignore pain when I got the spare rage, and it was doable. And I don't think that Paladins necessarily have that. So bro, I played out of my mind. Oh wow, I just lost it. I played out of my mind in a 9 bro as a Prot last night. Perfect rotation, clean timing, 600k HPS, playing really well, and then I went boom. Not a single. Wow. Not a single. Wait. There's a lot. Just too many acronyms. I'm bad with acronyms. There wasn't a proc, not a single missed time cooldown, and I literally went, what the F? I'm a goddamn tank. It should cost 0 mana if I cast it on myself. You tie it on 30% to block. And if I self-cast it, the amount you want me to, I go, I haven't heard of this issue widespread, but I didn't realize that Prot was going that's unfortunate. That's big unfortunate. Yeah, it's pretty brutal unless you get a 4 set and 620 plus, even though it's real roller coaster HP. Honestly, I've heard that the item sets aren't that great. It is another thing I've heard, like as far as giving you much more benefits as well. As a red paladin who looted the shield and was like, screw it, I'll tank this delve. I've never felt so squishy in my life. I'll leave tanking to my warrior. Yeah. But I mean, I think there's light at the end of the tunnel for paladins. I mean, I saw this and I thought it was a little bit inspirational. So don't lose all hope yet, people. So I can't help but notice there's a lot of people who don't know about this simple trick you can do to avoid a full wipe when a tank dies during a Mythic Plus as a paladin. So I'll be sharing with you guys. I was doing a Siege of Borealis 10 a few minutes ago. We're almost not timing it. Then our tank died. At this point, if anyone else died, we would not time it. I did drink a lot of coffee this morning, so I was super quick to react. And what I did was instantly BOP the guy who got the threat. Blessing and Protect. I know that one. And he was at 55%, so it was surely insta-death if boss meleeed him. Divine Shield myself, taunt the boss. Important to Divine Shield before taunting. Immune the boss melee attacks while preventing him from killing anyone else, and he's busy with me. B-res the tank while I'm immune, so I can't no cast pushback. Lay on hands my healer, who panicked and started healing BOP guy and forgot about himself. Key saved. That's how I got the Siege of Borealis Keystone Hero. Let's never forget, fellow paladins, we are more than Divine Storm. In fact, we are one of the most supportive classes specs out there, and we have many tricks up our sleeve that make up for most fun interactions. If there's a day you feel like a red paladin, it's the day you save the whole team through proper wielding of light. Good luck on your keys, paladins. I think that this is honestly, I think the silver lining when you talk about paladins, and I think there's a creator who does like a really good explanation of this. This is Marcillian Online, who talks about his thoughts on paladins, prot paladins and their positioning.
Paladin, the before mentioned worst tank in the game, I want to put it into C tier, but it's not actually. I was surprised to see that Prot Paladin is also clearing keys at the same level of Brewmaster and Blood Decay, essentially in the 11s and 12s, some 13s as well, done in time. It depends on where you look for your information. Databases are not completely consistent across the board. For instance, we have, once again, Warcraft logs or Archon.gg. I don't know what to call them, man, because all of the data that's aggregated into particular tables and rankings is on Archon.gg. They have ranked all of the tanks based on popularity, and there's a list, like you can see the ranking here, and you can see that.
This is like the problem, like if you've never read these charts too, I think like often you'll look at them and you'll go, okay, so obviously this is best. But when you look at the difference between them, there's basically like they're almost pretty much the same. I think the issue though is that it doesn't display the width of that chart. Like sure, like the DPS, you got, you know, max 691 or 699k for Brewmaster Monk for DPS, but it doesn't show you how low that goes as well. So it's like don't think of it as like this is how everyone else is performing, this is how you're performing. Think of it as this is the top potential of that possibly. And now understand that Paladin has a ceiling. And now I would say their DPS is great, you know, overall. But obviously, I mean, if you look at it comparatively, Brewmaster Monk and Paladin are pretty low as far as the number of parses that are here. So this is not all the data that we could expect or look at.
Pretty much all of them have cleared the plus 13. That means that essentially you could really put them all into S tier, which Archon.gg definitely has, but that's just a little bit boring because they're not equal, right? I cannot honestly put them all equal. And we could probably put Prop Paladins slightly lower than Brewmaster and Blood Decay, but since they're doing similar keys, and if you put it into C tier, it just means that it's terrible. I just couldn't do it. That's why it's currently into B tier. Keep in mind, it's still doing plus 12s, plus 13s at the moment, probably by like 1 or 2 people in the whole world, but that's probably going to be more people coming the next week. And if you
So you get the idea. Basically, like the representation of the charts isn't the representation of the entire picture. And so going back into the Red Paladin post, end of positivity for Red Paladins, or for Paladins in general. This first guy says, simple trick, my friend, 99% of Red Paladins could not pull this off. I keep on clicking things. I'm just awful. Even if they knew it was coming and when. So that is important to keep in perspective when you're talking about Paladins. It's like you have all this utility that's still your saving grace as a Paladin, and your DPS isn't necessarily isn't bad. But the thing is, it's using those. Is that enough? Is that what your group needs? Is that going to get you into a group? For the most part, I would say it's fine. I'd say the biggest flaw, honestly, with having Paladins in a group is it feels like you have so much melee. Like if you have a Red Paladin and a Holy Paladin in a group, you're like, oh my god, there's just so much. Like it's like it feels like too much, and I think that ends up being a little bit overwhelming for me, at least. So let's look at a little bit more of this. My experience healing 7+ keys prop paladins are either gods, or they take 0 damage, and take 0 damage, or straight up fucking liquid, and there's no in between. No idea what the difference is, but that's how you feel from a healer perspective. And I think that's a matter of, like I said earlier, like with warriors, I think it's very easy to keep up your defensive uptime, like your abilities up all the time. But I think for prop paladins, it requires a little bit more know-how. I do not think it's very beginner friendly. I think you can have a lot of situations like this, you know, the tank that saves the keys potentially, but I think it's much harder for a paladin to do so. It's been like this for years. The bad prop paladins are terrible at cooldown management and sit on wings all the time, and they also let Shield of Righteousness drop constantly. If they don't have Shield of, I'm bad with organ acronyms, they are instantly tissue paper and start to crumple. Basically, if you're bad at managing cooldowns, you're not going to be able to run Paladin. My favorite add-on that I have right now is an add-on that basically allows me to look at 2 abilities and 2 abilities only, and that is my Ignore Pain as well as my freaking shield block. So shield made if you want it, but it's because you forget that they're there, and you like if I don't pay attention, it's just like I'll forget that they're there. So all right, so Shield of the Righteous slams enemies in front of you with your shield, causing holy damage and increasing your armor for 4.5 seconds. That seems like a very short amount of time. Ugh, that's kind of brutal. I guess it's a 1 second cooldown, so I guess if you're, as long as you're constantly keeping it up, but that's a lot of management. Wasting 2 to 3 blessed hammers simply to be able to use Shield of the Righteous at the start of your pull, so you don't get one-shot feels incorrect. Yeah, I would say like the cooldown of that, or the cooldown of that is fine, but like how much it costs for how short it lasts, that's brutal. I can keep up my shield blocks nearly 100% of the time. I think it's like, actually you can with a 2-second overlap, like if you're really good at it. I think it's 14 seconds and then it's like 16-second uptime if you use both. So yeah, that's bizarre. I feel bad for you, Paladins. I fully accept that my HP dips super low at the start of the pulls, and it sucks. Straight up dying to packs that shouldn't happen though. If you do, it means you fucked up or you're just under geared for that level of keystone. Also, shield island level matters more than other pieces. Every prop paladin in raids Mythic Plus should have a 619 shield at minimum. Here's the thing though, I have never once felt that as a prop warrior. So I have gone into Mythic Plus keys under geared, and I felt totally fine, and I didn't feel like I had to like use my self heals a whole bunch. And I don't think I particularly have a great shield. I think my shield's probably still 605. I don't recall getting a shield from vaults. So, yeesh. If a prop palette isn't dropping consecration and throwing hammers pre-pull to build holy power, you're going to have a bad time. I throw hammers between pulls, drop consecration, advantage pull to judgment, new consecration, shield of righteousness. Yeah, if you need a spreadsheet and a rotation pre-fight and like post-fight going into the next fight, that's concerning. That's definitely... Whew. Pally has so much shit to reduce damage. If you run into a pack with nothing ready, you will be dust. Yeah, that's rough though. That's rough though. I don't know. I don't think paladins, or I don't think tanks should feel like if you don't pop your active defensives, you're just gonna die. I think that in heavy situations, you should have to like heavy pulls, you know, big pulls, like maybe then you pre-game those. But your normal pulls, like your 3 to 5 mob packs, you know, you should be able to mix in a little bit of DPS and not have to like do defensives or self-healing outside of... Actually, you don't really need to do self-healing as long as everything goes well. But really do defensives except for in those key situations where bosses do that one big hit that hits hard. So I feel like paladins are coping a little bit. It feels like a little bit of copage, but I mean, I understand, like this is your class, the classes you enjoy. I would probably feel the same if it was warriors on the chopping block. So as a very rusty off tank prop paladin, I could say this: you just need to have haste as higher stat on basically everything to keep up shield of righteousness buff and mixing consecration reliably in between. One missed window after initial burst and it's hard to get back. Yeah, so like I don't think this should be the case. I mean, I'd hate to say it's full on copium, but it kind of feels like copium if you're saying that like you miss one set of cooldowns, you're cooked. That just feels wrong. So I mean, let me know, what do you feel like paladins need the most in this? To me, it would be, if your most important thing is you're basically pre-gaming your abilities or having to, at the end of a fight, like prepare for your next pull, like and you mess it up, like you're cooked. To me, it's, you need longer uptime for defensive abilities, and then 2, you need a way to generate much more holy power on either like pulls or outside of pulls in some sort of way that's passively done. And if that's not doable, then put it in your gear somewhere. Like that would be my thing. It's like it shouldn't be that way for paladins. You shouldn't need like this weird degree, this paladin degree, in order to do like a basic big pull. That just sounds unfortunate. But that's just my 2 cents on it. I don't play paladin, so forgive me for if I'm speaking out of turn. But let me know, let me know what you're thinking as far as like what can improve paladins the most, and I'll try to adjust and kind of go from there. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys. Thank you to everybody who's been so supportive of the page. I know I say this a lot on the page, but you guys subscribing has gotten us to the point to now where we have the ability to officially kind of start monetizing things in certain sort of ways. So this means a lot to me. I hope to make a lot more content for you guys that you enjoy. Let me know. I mean, like, what are the classes you would like me to highlight the most? Like, what are the classes that you would like me to speak about the most? Would you like me to talk more about Warrior or just less about Warrior? Do you hate Warrior? Let me know, of course. And then, of course, twitch.tv/ShawnSetGO on and on Twitter, ShawnSetGO as well. I'm rolling over all my words right now. If you would like to join the community, as well as, have direct line and conversations while we're playing WoW live, it would mean a lot to me. But until next time, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.